national charity that uses sports and apprenticeships to help change young lives and help transform communities. We find out-of-work young people and set them on the path to a rewarding career through sports, community apprenticeships, as well as training, a wage, and work as a grassroots coach.
I'd much prefer to be outside, so that's why I chose an apprenticeship instead.
So I was dying to go into the role of sports, so I did college, but it just wasn't for me, sitting down and a lot of handwriting, whereas the apprenticeship route kind of gave me what I was looking for in the sense of delivering sports whilst learning at the same time.
I got in trouble when I was like 17 years old and I ended up in prison. And that's where I met Ashley Avon. He was doing one of the courses there and I kind of just participated, and now I'm here basically, and I just want to kind of make a difference to myself and just keep going.
The dramatic benefits of sports and activity for physical and mental health are very well known, yet underrepresented groups, people living in deprived areas, women and girls, those from ethnically diverse communities, are always still likely to be less active.
I've come in and designed new groups for the young people, so I now run Sports Leaders, which I started within about a month and a half of my apprentice, which was designed at getting young people into the building, play some sports that they don't get to play every day out in school or even on the streets.
I like helping people, and helping people with disabilities, non-disability, having fun with them, having a laugh.
We recruit apprentices from these underrepresented groups. As relatable role models, they are uniquely able to make their communities healthier and happier places through sport.
I just want to get rid of that misconception for the Asian community, for anyone really, that training is a bad thing, and I want to get kids being active as well.
What I do is I make sure that the young people have a safe place to come when it's the sessions. It helps the community a lot because
it's on developing young people. If we can take apprentices on and offer them kind of gainful employment and more opportunities, then that's a good thing for us.
We raise funds to support these apprentices on their placement with a wide range of employers across the country. With the addition of young and passionate persons to help their workforce, organisations that employ a Coach Core apprentice are able to grow and have even more of a positive impact on the communities that they serve.
Apprentices have transformed our organisation. It's something we've never done before, but it's something we've talked about for years. We have this idea of kind of youth leadership in our community and bringing young people up to be the leaders in their own community. The Coach Core programme was perfect for that.
Something I was searching for in my work life was meaning, and I needed purpose. And I feel like through Coach Core I found my purpose. A lot of the kids we work with have gone through so much more than I ever did. For them to have gone through everything they went through and being able to open up, I feel like that helps me find.
So, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you ever so much for joining us. I think pretty much every conversation I've had so far is about how busy and nuts the start of this year has been. So for you to take out a couple of hours of your day to be with us today is genuinely really appreciated. For what for me is always the best day in our calendar year. As you can see, the bow tie and braces, for those that get the joke, they're back. Thank you. And they're in person this time. So I wanted to make a bit of an effort, just simply because the apprentices and the people and the winners and the nominees that are in the room deserve that bit of effort as well. And it's lovely to see splashes of green absolutely everywhere. I always get asked as a Plymouth Argyle fan whether I set the branding scheme up, but I promise you it's got nothing to do with that. Some very boring housekeeping just to get that out of the way. We're not expecting fire drills today, so if one should go off, we come back through the way that we came and out into the main car park, or if for any reason that's blocked, we've been advised to head out onto the balcony itself. And toilets are situated in the corridor in the way that you came. Coach Core staff and board members will be easily identified by their pin badges today, so look for that badge and you'll know it's going to be a staff or a board member. And thankfully that is the boring stuff out of the way so we can get on with the good things. So for those that don't know me, my name is Gary Laybourne. I have had the privilege of being CEO of this wonderful charity and the even greater privilege of co-founding it, leading the very first group back in 2012 on our very first day. And from that first day, we set out with a vision to create something that would not only change the lives of underrepresented, neat young people in London at that time, but also support incredible employers who want to give young people a chance, but also want to put really positive things back into the local communities that need that resource the most. And it gives me and the staff and the board so much pride to know that that ethos still very much flows through us and is what governs us today. It's been an extremely special year for the charity as we celebrate a decade of changing over 800 young lives up and down the country, getting them all onto long-term career pathways that are right for them and having a significant impact on the community around them. For those that know or were there and had the privilege of being there, we celebrated in style at the Copper Box in last October with their Royal Highnesses joining some very special VIP guests to showcase everything that is brilliant about Coach Corps. And given the rave reviews about our apprentices on the day, and particularly those amazing speakers, some of which are here today, I think it's testament to just simply how amazing young people are if you give them an opportunity. It's as simple as that. At Coach Corps, we care passionately about the individual journey for each and every apprentice, and we will continue to champion and enable the talent so that so many young people who face barriers and challenges can do so, can overcome them and realise the potential that we all know that they have. 2022 also saw us relaunch 6 new Level 2 programmes in existing sites, so in Manchester, London, Leeds, Leicestershire, Bristol and Middlesbrough. And we also started a very exciting new partnership with England Boxing, British Cycling and 2 new active partners to launch the new Level 3 programme as well. So it was an extremely busy year for the charity. In total, nearly 100 young people started their journey with Coach Corps in 2022, and you'll not only get to learn and meet some of those superstars, but there's also a very special feature today that celebrates those individuals who have shaped and advanced Coach Corps over the last 10 years. It's going to be an inspiring, and I will warn you now, a slightly emotional event as usual. So, we have chosen to, from here on after, into Apprenticeships Week. The narrative of Apprenticeships Week and celebrating everything that's incredible about work-based learning is something that we feel should be done at a perfect time to celebrate in something like Apprenticeships Week. On that note, and before we get truly started, I'd like to take the opportunity to say a massive thank you to Lifetime Training for not sponsoring our awards this year. Coach Corps is all about partnerships, and we are proud to have worked with Lifetime Training since 2015 to offer those life-changing opportunities. We've got some incredible finalists here in the room today, and I would encourage every guest that is here with us today to please take the time to speak to them about their experiences. We guarantee if what you see doesn't inspire you, what you hear certainly will. On the chairs, you may have already seen, we launch them in the first 2 awards and then have nothing for the rest. So please calm yourselves down, but feel free to use them as we go. To those superstars that make up our finalists today, if you are lucky enough to be named as one of our winners, we will ask you to come up to the stage to collect your award, have a quick photo, and then if you're comfortable, to have some to say a few words. Right, I think you've definitely heard too much from me already. So I think, thank you, Mitch. I think it's right that we only kick off the awards by hearing from one of the most genuinely inspiring, incredible young people I've had the fortune to meet. Following the review of our strategy, we are doubling our efforts to make sure even more young people from marginalised groups are supported by Coach Corps, actively challenging ourselves to go deeper and to work with even more young people that sit outside of our AIM programmes as well. In 2021, we launched our youth board to gain the voices and insights of young people that have been on Coach Corps, but also that are outside of Coach Corps, to allow us to continue and support, to continue and support and develop not only their ambitions, but also hopefully provide the sector with the trustees of the future too. Our first speaker is a brilliant example of how young people facing barriers, challenges, lack of opportunity and discrimination can go on to achieve extraordinary things when they're given the chance and the support to thrive and flourish. Not only is he a champion for disability, he's an England football international, and we are so very proud to have him sit on the Coach Corps Youth Board. Please welcome to the stage the legend that is Azim Azir. Yeah, in you come.
Cheers, Gary. Nice one. Thank you, firstly, for Coach Corps for having me today. Honestly, it was definitely worth the 6:15 get up this morning. honestly, first, thank you so much to Coach Hall, firstly, for having me, for Gary, for Paul, for Amy, for all their work over the last couple of years whilst I've been knowing them. So I just want to personally start off with, because I hear all the amazing work from kind of the outside, but I know how much hard work and effort has gone into making this happen alongside all the rest of the team. So could we start off with a huge round of applause for them guys for getting this on. Secondly, Gary, you should have told me about the old streamers, because I'm going to be using that now. I myself was born with a visual impairment, which means I struggle to see. So one good thing is it doesn't matter if there's 6,000 people, 600 people, 60 people, or 6 people. I can't see my audience, so I don't really get very nervous. But for me to get a filter of the room, I think what would be nice is if we could have a streamer from maybe over here on the left, if that's all right. I can. Ready? Yep. Can we have one high left, please? Maybe Scott Hardy. Can we have one back left, please? And back right, please. Thank you very much. So I've got a bit of a gauge of the room now, so that really helps me out. So one more time, thank you so much for that. So now I've painted a picture of the room, I can tell you a little bit about my story. I was born with a visual impairment, which means I struggle to see. So I've got no sight in my right eye and light perception in my left. So a lot of the information I take in is through kind of hearing. Growing up, I went through mainstream education. My parents were very kind of adamant in the fact that they wanted me to have the same experiences as someone, as my cousins, as my friends, as my family were doing, going through school. But it wasn't that I needed to be in a specialist environment to get the same amount of education. It just needed that some little adaptations had needed to be made so that I can go through mainstream education and do what everybody else does, but just in a slightly different way. Sport became a real big part of my life growing up. For my sins, I was a Man United fan. Back then, they were good. They're coming back slowly but surely. They're coming back. But it was in what I call the good old days. But football was a big part of my life. But going up through kind of primary school, high school, I had some amazing people, staff, coaches around me that helped and put things into place to allow me to do what everybody else was doing, but in slightly different ways. And PE sport was the highlight of my week. And going into kind of PE, they'd always think of creative ways that I'd be able to do what everybody else was doing, but just in a way that I'd be able to access it. So in rock climbing, for example, we'd use walkie-talkies, so they could say, Zine, put your hand high right, or move your leg kind of towards the left, or your hand. Badminton, we got a shuttlecock with an LED inside it, and we'd turn the lights down. I could pick up on the LED. My favourite one was rugby. They tried to adapt rugby for a blind person by getting a really fluorescent ball, which was great for the first 5 minutes, but until it got muddy, then I couldn't see it anymore. So they were always thinking of, I've got to credit them in some way. At least they tried. But the sport that came to me, and the sport that I discovered through a program called Playground to Podium, was blind football. And blind football really did change my life. My first perception of the sport would have been that getting a load of blind people with blindfolds on to run around in a confined environment, chasing after a ball. I thought it was just going to be an absolute car crash. People walking into each other, get the first aid kit ready. That was my first perception until I tried it and gave it a go. And blind football, like I said, changed my life. I started playing it recreationally, and for those who may not know, it's a five-a-side sport played by 4 outfield players and 1 fully sighted goalkeeper. The outfield players will wear a blindfold to ensure that no one can see anything at all, and the ball itself will make a sound, so that's how we're able to locate it. Goalkeeper's fully sighted, and we play on a specialist pitch with boards going down the sides so that we know where the sides are, and one of our coaches will stand behind the goal, and he will kind of assist us in terms of knowing where the goal is, so he'll speak and he'll say, dribble left, dribble right, shoot. And apart from that, we rely heavily on our communication, our teamwork, to kind of get us through games and just to play, really. I genuinely do believe it's one of the toughest sports in the world, and when you see the skill level that is required, I think that appreciation, and a lot of people struggle to walk in a straight line with a blindfold on, let alone seeing kind of the work that we get to do on a daily basis. And I started taking it up as a bit of a hobby, and slowly got signed to a club when I was 17, 18, and then playing in the league. I was very fortunate to have been scouted and put through a talent program, which meant I had the opportunity to train with kind of the emerging talent with England, and at an international level, so from coaches that had seen me. And then that slowly developed onto, in 2018, getting an invite to St George's Park and being there. And to be honest, I didn't know what St George's Park was until I heard about that all the England teams are based there, and the excited keepers and the coaches would say to me, Harry Kane's in front of you grabbing a hot chocolate. I was like, no, he's not. And he's like, no, he actually is. Marcus Rashford is walking through. Gareth Southgate's just come out of the shower, and I was like, no, he's not. And he's like, yeah, this is all going on. So I was at the home of English football, one of the best facilities in the world, and I was just taking it in, and I was developing with my football, training, working at the same time. I was going through kind of my A-levels, university, and it was only kind of something that I'd do on the side until I got that call, and the call was, Azim, we'd like you to come out to represent the England blind football team out in Japan. And for me, that was one of the calls that I will remember for the rest of my life. A couple months later, I was out in Japan with an England shirt on, singing the national anthem, represent my country. And ever since then, for the last 3.5 years, I've been so fortunate to have travelled around the world, playing at the kind of highest level, working towards kind of Paralympic, we're a Paralympic sport. So this year we go again for the 2024 cycle out in Paris. So kind of I always want to be kind of everyday training, whether it be my home environment or with a squad or with our team, and kind of, like I said, working towards not only my own personal version of success, but for the team. And as I started to do well on the pitch, it started to paint a platform to kind of say, what do you want to do with, you're doing well on the pitch, is there anything that you're passionate about or that you care about off it that we can kind of help you with? So brands would approach me and different companies and organisations and said, what can we do? And I said, look, I've got this thing that I was very fortunate. I grew up in a really accepting environment where my friends didn't treat me as Azim who's blind. They just treated me as Azim. So did my family, so did kind of my teachers, my coaches. I was really, really fortunate. However, I come across a lot of people with a disability or a challenge, and that challenges come in lots and lots of different ways. I say, like, my disability is visual. Some people struggle to walk, struggle to talk. Some people, for them, the challenge is getting out of bed. Like, that was my challenge this morning, actually. All these different things. But for them, a lot of challenges come in different ways, whether it be from a socio-economic background, financial, health, family. And a lot of the challenges, people kind of, their first impressions of someone with a disability in particular that's visual is, that person must have a really poor quality of life, or they must really struggle, or that pity culture. And I was like, I want to change that, because I've been able to travel around the world in lots and lots of different countries. I get to play football for my country. I get to kind of represent them at the highest level. I live the lifestyle that a lot of people kind of only dream about. 99% of my sighted friends, I believe I've got a better lifestyle than them, and I think only if they know me, they believe that, because of how many enriched and lucky experiences that I've had. I'm educated, I've got a master's degree, and I kind of said, like, I want people to know that. So a lot of my work started doing around changing people's first impressions and how we can do that, and showcasing to them that actually, can we see past that? And Scott, who's here with us today, I'm from Rochdale, and Your Trust now, they do, and I went along and started to understand a little bit more about the Coach Core philosophy and what they try and do on a daily basis to kind of change people's lives, but not only from a participant's point of view, but for the coaches and those that work with them people, and how they can, like, enrich their experiences. I had the amazing coaches in my life that made me into the person that I am today, and these guys are doing that exact same thing, but for so many other people. And I was like, okay, I want to kind of get involved. So I came along and I heard a little bit about the amazing work that these guys are doing on the ground. And I said, look, how can we kind of ensure that we can grow that impact? And they said the biggest thing is investment in our apprenticeships. And when I heard the apprenticeships, the word, I'd heard it before, and my initial perception was, and I need to word this in a really specific way, but it was that the intellectual people will go off and do a degree and will do something that's paperwork based and very kind of like, you get graduates and all this, whereas apprentices were for the people that maybe weren't as intellectual and were more practical based. That was my perception growing up, and I thought that was how it was, until I started speaking to these people and understanding these apprentices that were going on to becoming coaches and had done these courses and had been working with these organisations, how much of an unbelievable experience they had, a practical experience that had moulded them into individuals that were changing people's lives. And I said to myself, like, my whole philosophy and my whole thought process on apprenticeship changed, and I actually realised that if you want a practical experience that will give you the tools, give you the experiences, give you the day-to-day kind of in workings with these communities on the ground, that will help you. And a paper from a degree doesn't do that, but going through these programs where you're actually being there, you're experiencing it. And I always say this, I can talk about my disability and my challenges and me being who I am, but until you experience that, that's when you know what it's like and how you can become kind of shaping you into the person that you are. And seeing the amazing work and celebrating that today, for me, the pleasure is all mine to be here today. So from me, guys, that's a little bit about my story, alongside the work that I'm doing with my blind football. I myself, as of last week now, also run a foundation. So we try and work with disabled young people, showcasing to them, mainly working with main educational institutions, schools, colleges, universities, around upskilling the staff of that thing around empathy, around gratitude, about what it's like to live the life with someone with a disability. And over the last 2 years, our workshops have grown. We worked with clients from across the country and now international. We were very lucky to have been invited out to Qatar for the World Cup. So our team is growing, our programs are growing, our workshops are growing, and I think it's all about leaving experiences, and the people that we meet on a day-to-day basis, when they interact with you, how can we make sure that we enrich their lives in some way, that they leave that conversation with a smile. And hopefully the apprentices today and all the partners that we're celebrating, the stakeholders in so many different ways, I'm sure that these guys are doing that, and like I said, changing people's lives, and we're going to be celebrating them today. So from me, that is it from me, but thank you so much for listening in, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the event. So I've been given the honour of introducing the graduate category for today. We're going to show the video first. Nominees, and then we'll bring them up. Is that all right? Perfect. So for the graduate of the year.
Before I started going to level 2 coaching hard, but Cookie got me to it. Then I was a bit too surprised I passed a bit over the moon. I was a bit scared, but I'm more confident. I know what I'm doing. I was a bit shy first, but then I was a bit nervous, but I got. I'm always nervous and shy, but I got better and better. I like helping people, and like helping people with disabilities, non-disabilities, having fun with them, having a laugh. They think I'm a good role model, and they want to copy like me. So they want to be a student like an apprenticeship.
I've always been sporty from being young. I played lots of sports growing up. High school, found out that rugby was my sport. Still play now, love it, enjoy it, everything about it. Had a few hardships growing up, but never really let it affect me too much. I joined this foundation in 2018. Started off a couple of hours in the community, started the apprenticeship with Coach Core, and then I've gone on to be a lead coach and in a lead role for sport and education settings.
Definitely speaking to other people in the other regions and the other sort of programmes around the country sort of gives you ideas how Coach Core runs in other areas, but also their coaching techniques, what they've learned, also helps me progress professionally and personally. My name's Grace Kane. I did my apprenticeship with Delalio Rugby Works, and I'm a full-time member of staff with Delalio Rugby Works as the lead coach in London. Day to day, going into crews, schools, working with disengaged, disadvantaged young people, delivering sports and employability sessions.
And this afternoon, guys, we have the pleasure of two of our graduate nominees being with us today, as well as Grace and Spirit. Can we please have a huge round of applause as Asen and Amy come up on stage? Want to chat from here? Yeah. Is that okay? Perfect. Guys, it'd be amazing if you could just introduce what it is you do and a little bit about the areas that you're based in, if that's okay. If we start with you, Aslan. It would be amazing if you could tell us a little bit about what it is you do in your home area and the kind of communities that you work with.
I work for White Walk Rugby. I do coaching with Essing School, primary school, and the normal school, and that's why I work in my boss put me to coach course so I could get a good qualification, and then a bit nervous on the coach course, but Aaron and my friend helped me so I passed the first time, and I play rugby. Mitsubishi rugby team. So I'm the first modern player to play rugby, and now slowly building up to more modern people. Yeah.
Amazing. And yourself, maybe can you tell us a little bit about your kind of first interactions with Coach Core and how you came across it in terms of your journey in your home area?
Yeah, so I'm Amy. I'm from Salford, which is near Manchester, and my current manager at the minute, Bex, I was friends with her before I got involved with the foundation. She just said, do you want a couple of hours work? So I was like, yeah, okay, because I wasn't enjoying my old previous job. Went down, then she said, oh, I've got this opportunity, Coach Core apprentices coming up. I was like, brilliant, because you know, you need any qualifications you get at the minute when you fail all your A levels. So started the apprenticeship with Matt, who was the tutor at the time. I think it was like 12 to 18 months, loved it. And now currently, as you've seen in the video, leading community projects, do work in schools, doing education projects, working with kids who are on the verge of getting kicked out of school. And yeah, love it, so it's great. Thank you.
And I think for me, the biggest thing is what coaching does. It gives you kind of every day. That is never the same. There's always something different going on. It'd be really nice to hear, maybe Aslan, if you start us off with maybe a memory that you've got from your coach core journey and going into the coaching that you do now that sticks out, or someone's story that resonates with yourself, or is it one person or one moment that you think to yourself, like, this is why I do what I do?
My health and fitness and everything. Then I was happy in rugby again. I was happy in rugby. Then after a few years, my boss asked me, do you want to work for White Walk Rugby? I said yes. And then after that, I started doing rugby coaching and everything. And then I think after 2 years, and he put me through the apprenticeship. So that's where I got a qualification from. Then that's why at the moment I'm going to different places coaching, and that's how I come coaching and apprenticeship.
And yourself, Amy, maybe a memory that sticks out of your friendship journey and now the work that you do, or something that kind of you think to yourself, like, that's something I'm very proud that I was a part of?
Yeah, I think one of my main memories is I had a group of year 8 girls. Started out, I think there was 5 to 10 girls every Tuesday after school doing rugby, and now these girls have never heard of rugby, never seen a rugby ball. Like, what's rugby? What passing backwards? What's that? Like, it grew to, I think we had over 20 girls, and then so obviously that's over a period of like a year, and then we ended up having the opportunity to take them to a local rugby club, and actually they started training with the girls, and it was just to see them from what's rugby to playing for the local rugby club. I think that's my personal best achievement and memory with the foundation and during the apprenticeship and stuff. So.
Amazing. I think that thing around introducing people to new sports and new opportunities, like, that is an amazing kind of privilege to have. Like, I myself in my personal journey, that one person that came and said there's this sport that I didn't know existed, and Amy, for example, is doing that with the sport of rugby. It's amazing to kind of showcase to people that it is for all. That sport is for all. People use that phrase for all, and I think that is being personified with these guys. And do you think if there's one thing about coaching that sticks out, an emotion or feeling that gets you up in the morning, that why you do what you do, it'll be I know it's very unique to each of us that are here today and that are working in the world of sport, but what
this is what I do for coaching. At the moment, it keeps me active and meet new people and let me out of the house, basically. I don't like staying home. I like to do stuff, so I like to be active. So that's why I do coaching, so to be active.
Amazing. I think that ties in really well, I think, to our mental health and our physical health and how kind of we're being active. There's so many kind of positivities and skills that are around that. About yourself, Amy, do you think is there something that kind of puts the fire in your belly that gets you going, or you know, that you feel a sense of accomplishment and achievement from it, from the coaching?
Yeah, like Hassan said, it keeps you active, it keeps you healthy and happy, and we're involved in sport as well. So that's what I thrive off. So doing sport within my job every day, and I think even just seeing the kids, you could be having a bad day and you go to a session, you see the kids, and in the first 5 minutes it's made your day. So I think the main feeling that I get from coaching is just happiness and like wholesome feeling.
Amazing. And for those that maybe at the start of their journey, kind of, and you guys are obviously being graduates, is there kind of one thing that you'd say that why a person that's probably looking in at the start of their journey, thinking about like, we've got so many partners and providers here today, what would be the thing that you'd say about the apprenticeship that kind of stuck out and was like, you know, this is why you do what you do and how it's helped you most importantly? So kind of how has it helped you to get into what you do now?
How did it help me? Basically, I don't know what I'm doing before, but so when I started coaching, I was a bit nervous, but then I got better. Then my boss said it would be better for you if you do an apprenticeship. Then that will help you to coach. That's why I did apprenticeship, and that's what I think.
And Amy, yourself, like maybe kind of new graduates, new people coming up to the apprenticeship program, if there's one bit of advice that you give to them?
I think it can be quite nerve-wracking. You're in a group and you've never met some of the apprentices before, but just be brave and show your ideas and don't just sit back thinking, oh, I don't want to do it, because they might think I'm silly, or just do it. And then obviously you learn off them, they learn off you, and the more you go on, the more ideas you get, and it helps you throughout your job really and into after the apprenticeship.
Guys, we give it up for our and guys, to come up and he's going to present the graduate of the year. Could we please welcome Alex from Sport England, who works with partnerships with Coach Core. Perfect. Thank you.
Hello all. First I'd like to say, a bit off piece, sorry, that when I was asked to do this category I was absolutely buzzing, because I was the first person in my family to get through HE and FE, so I know how hard it is to graduate. So can I just do a round of applause for everyone who's graduated, not just these two. We were asked to mark everyone, and that was the hardest task. So I thought, I'll get a cup of tea, spend some time. I think I've written about 6 times and there was still no points between them. They were all amazing people, so congratulations as well. Despite that, there can only be one winner, which I am gutted about, but they are an amazing person. Despite the experience of experiencing a number of personal and professional challenges, this individual continues to be a huge inspiration in their community, supporting the delivering of mixed ability rugby, working to encourage those from ethnically diverse communities into sport and raising the profile of both his employer and the sport more broadly. In addition to this, his apprenticeship qualification, this individual has gone on to complete additional learning opportunities and is also hoping to complete a rugby coaching award in the near future. His employer has commented on how he continues to inspire the rest of his staff and the team through his resilience, determination and commitment. I'm delighted to announce that the Coach Core Graduate of the Year is Hassan Sakandar.
Thanks, Alex. Massive congratulations to Asan, but also to Amy. Well done. It's an amazing nomination. Congratulations. Thank you for being here. Next up, we rattle through them quite quickly after now. This is quite high. Sorry, I'm short at the time. I have to be on my yeah, we didn't think about this in the props. We'll have to remember that next time. Our next award, next up today, we celebrate an employee of a training provider who has surpassed expectations in support of the apprentices that they are teaching. Whilst the judging panel were left with the really difficult decision of actually finding a winner in this category, I had the much nicer task of actually introducing the 3 shortlisted finalists. So without further delay, I'll look over to James to introduce the 3 nominees for this category. Aaron Brookbanks from Leeds and Middlesbrough, David Smith from Bristol, and Wazim Collins from Northumberland, Tyne and Wear. Thank you to all 3 of you for your ongoing hard work and support. I have the pleasure of introducing now Christopher Evans from our corporate partner Collinson, who's going to be presenting our winner with the award. So, Christopher, hand to you.
Thank you very much, and yeah, honoured to be here today and to be part of the judging panel, or at least I was until I got the challenge of going through the nominations, because likewise, you read the first case study and think, oh, that's the one, that's got to be the winner, and the next one, nah, and you go through the list, and it's incredibly difficult to try and pick them apart, and I think everyone that's been nominated, everyone through the programme should be immensely proud of what's been achieved, and the way that you inspire the people you're working with is quite incredible. Many people come from challenging backgrounds and have gone through difficulties themselves, so really, really difficult for myself and the rest of the panel to pick a winner. The individual that's won really has been able to look at really tailored approaches, the way they've supported the apprentices both within the programme but also a lot of activity outside the programme, and it's quite incredible how much time and effort is given to support these people outside of the core programme as well as within it. There are multiple nominations referencing the incredible work that's been done. So.
Wasn't expecting that. No, really honoured to win Learning Coach of the Year. But
well done, Waz. But thank you also, Dave, Aaron, and to all of our learning coaches who do an amazing job every day supporting our apprentices. We couldn't run the programme without you guys, and you really are that kind of day-to-day support for all of our apprentices, so we're really, really grateful, and thank you so much for everything that you do. Our next award today is, I suppose, a sporting reference, really. It's our MVP award, our Most Valuable Person award. This award is something that we wanted to introduce as an internal staff team to recognise somebody who's made a significant contribution to the Coach Corps mission and our ethos and what we're trying to achieve, somebody who consistently demonstrates our values as an organisation, and someone that really just deserves to be recognised for the amazing work that they're doing. The individuals that were in this category have really gone kind of above and beyond. Oh, are we back? We're back, good. That was funny because I was about to say above and beyond, which everyone in our team hates saying, so I'm going to just keep saying it, especially as you can't hear it, just to bring that to life. I will pass over to James to introduce you to the finalists for our MVP category. have a few nominations for our MVP, our Most Valuable Person award, including Christopher and Jane from Collinson, Paul from BMS, and Dan, who we've worked with previously through the Coach Corps programme. Again, really difficult to find a winner for this category. This was actually one where all the nominations were submitted and judged by the internal Coach Corps staff team. And it was incredibly difficult to find a winner, as I think is the common theme across the course of today. But this individual has supported Coach Corps Foundation in a number of ways over the last 12 months and for a large amount of time prior to that as well, from raising money to support the next generation of apprentices coming through the Coach Corps programme, to really advocating for the power of Coach Corps and apprenticeships, and also helping to shape the future direction of the programme and what we're wanting to achieve. So this person is a hugely valuable member of the wider Coach Corps family. We are incredibly grateful for his ongoing support, and it gives me huge delight to announce that this year's Most Valuable Person award goes to one of our very own Coach Corps graduates, Dan Thomas. Woo! No problem. Dan, thank you so much. Can everyone give a round of applause? Woo! Thank you so much, Dan. I will now hand over to Paul to announce our next award. He's on his way. Woo! Everyone, yeah, give Paul a clap. Woo!
Yeah, I was going to say, we're just getting smaller and smaller. Like, Gary should definitely not have been up first. And I don't know why I've carried this bit of card. It's got like about 3 words on, which is mainly Mitch's name and Hugh's name. But yeah, so I've got our next award, which is the Mentor of the Year Award, which is one of the words that's down on my card. But I'm super chuffed because I suppose kind of the 2 awards that I've got, because the mentors are a massively important part of our programme. So a lot of the time having kind of like coach developers and mentors and people that kind of like support you to kind of like develop both personally, professionally, a lot of the time it's only something you've got a luxury to do when you kind of get through to kind of like elite level, coaching either Olympic athletes or kind of like people that are potentially going to be podium athletes in the future. But it's a massive thing from a Coach Corps perspective is how can we try to get that kind of like wraparound support that works with the learning coaches, that works with the employers, to have this mentor that can support them, like I said, both with their coaching but also with everything else that's going on in their lives. I will pass over. So congrats to Chris, Emma and Joel. Like I say, massively worthy finalists. Similar to Amy said, is like I've just had the pleasure of introducing you guys, but I'm going to be passing over to Hugh, who is the CEO of UK Active and is also a member of the Coach Corps board, who's going to...
Good afternoon, everybody. Great honour to be here. Great honour to be a trustee of Coach Corps as well, and incredibly humbled to be able to be involved in the judging of this category of mentor. I spend far too much of my time the other side of the river in Westminster raging against the machine about why this sector is important. And if I brought all those guys down into this room now, they'd get it, because this is what it's about. You guys are changing lives, improving opportunities and optimism, and transforming the lives of people. And I'm very humbled to be here. My job is nothing compared to the work you guys are doing. So thank you. It's back from me to all of you. The judging and the opportunity to read the testimonials is incredible. Outstanding individuals in their own right and very inspirational, but there has to be a And the individual was chosen as the winner as they played a key role in supporting the personal and professional development of their apprentices, from organising a range of additional CPD opportunities, providing clear, consistent feedback, and challenging learners to exceed their own expectations, which is a key part of any mentorship. He has encouraged apprentices to follow their own ambitions and passions, and is committed to providing the support required to do this. This year's Coach Corps Mentor of the Year is Chris Wade.
Yeah, I know, straight over me. Amazing, take that off. Yeah, firstly, thank you to Coach Corps and everyone here. Firstly, thank you to you guys. Secondly, a thank you to Dave for the work that he does, and also my colleague Jack, who's in the room as well, for the work that they do with the apprentices. They do an amazing job to support them. Finally, they're not here, but a thank you to the apprentices themselves. We're really fortunate at Sport Foundation. We've got an amazing cohort of apprentices. So to be able to work with them and inspire them and see the amazing work in the community is an absolute pleasure. So thank you very much.
Congrats, Chris. So next award for me is the Employee of the Year. And again, this is they're all important awards, but I suppose from an apprenticeship perspective, there's kind of like two core ingredients really. You need to have a young person that's going to be an apprentice, but most importantly, you need to have an employer. So without an employer, apprenticeships don't exist. And I say we work with over 200 amazing employers across all of our different programs that offer so many kind of like life-changing opportunities to young people. So that is not just offer them kind of like the ability to be kind of like earn while they learn and actually do their job, but it's all that wraparound support and additional opportunities that they offer. As it is truly amazing. I said the finalists that we're going to put up on the screen in a minute, I suppose kind of like epitomise what Coach Corps all about with regards to not just offering someone a job, but offering somebody kind of that chance to truly change a young person's life and start to set them off the right track. So our finalists, so to White Rose Rugby, Leicester City in the Community and Hat-Trick. And what's been the same story for the rest of it, I'm passing over to Mitch, who is currently in our board and has got a massive passion for apprenticeships, and I'd probably be surprised if everyone in the room probably doesn't know Mitch as probably kind of like the best networker that I know, 100%, to introduce kind of and chat about who our winner's going to be. So over to you, Mitch.
If that's only 2 party poppers that have gone off while I'm showing you that this is... I mean, I don't know where that noise is coming from or who you're giving that to. It's shocking. Ladies and gents, a very good afternoon. What an absolute pleasure. I think I'm with Labour's actually. Definitely one of, if not my favourite day of the year. But I just wanted to go off script very briefly because Azim, one of the things that I live by was some of my experiences when I was growing up coaching, where people in South Africa would always serve you a meal and they would say, "It's my pleasure." And I'd be like 18-year-old coaching sport thinking, "What are you talking about? It's not your pleasure. Like, it's my pleasure that you're serving me food." So I just wanted to say that was my pleasure, Azim, to listen to you. And I think everybody in the room would say it was their pleasure to listen to you open this afternoon with such poise, humility, and just a wonderful story. So Azim, thank you very much again. Tomo's kind of done this a little bit, I think, in terms of the importance of employers in apprenticeships. And just to reiterate that really, I don't think sport and physical activity would struggle to attract young people that want to work in the industry. I think there are plenty of them out there that have had a fire lit and would love to work in our industry. I don't think that you'd struggle to find a training organisation that said, yeah, we can use public money to train people in this subject matter. But the role of the employer is perhaps the most kind of undervalued and unappreciated role, because to take on young people, to give people a chance, needs bravery, needs ambition. And a lot of the employers, and I think Paul said something like 200, they exhibit that day to day in the work they do on the front line to change lives, in the work they do to use sport and physical activity as a force for good, but ultimately in this domain, giving young people a chance to perhaps for the first time experience employment, to receive money in their pocket, to receive a great learning program. But actually if their employment experience is really poor, they're not going to stay. They're not going to grow, they're not going to develop. So I guess on behalf of the foundation and the trustee board, thank you to all employers involved. Special thanks to these three. Again, judging panel, it's a bloody difficult thing to do. There were some outstanding applications, but as they say, there can be only one winner. And the particular organisation has been with us, I think, for a long part of our journey, embodies the values and the culture that we try and set in the organisation and that Gary leads so importantly. Has apprentices, has had apprentices, and I hope continues to have apprentices. And they make sure that the value that they give the apprentices as much as they get in return. Coaching can at times be a selfless task. Your first job can be a selfless task. Because it's hard to earn money, to impress people, to get that next job, to get that next opportunity. And this employer embodies that top to bottom, left to right. So without further ado, I'm delighted to announce that this year's Coach Core Employer of the Year is Hattrick.
Thank you, everybody. Can you hear us okay? We are truly humbled and honoured to have won this award today. I just want to tell you a quick story. So Emma, who I manage Hattrick with, and myself were having a conversation a couple of weeks ago about what this award means and what it means about us as an organisation. And we've realised that we aren't just your typical sports organisation anymore with volunteers and with coaches and with apprentices. We're like a family. We are a little family up in Newcastle. So it doesn't matter whether you're coming into Hattrick for the first time as a player or you've been with us for 10 years as a full-time member of staff. We will support you, we will look after you, we will make sure that we can get you to a point where you're going to fulfill your potential as much as you possibly can do. And we will continue to try and do that for as long as we possibly can as an organisation. Okay.
So congrats to Hattrick, and I do just want to say, like, what Keith said there is 100% true. So actually, like, unbeknown to him, we did actually have Waz, who's obviously kind of one of our earlier winners, did a bit of a lunch and learn session with our staff today when he was talking about his journey. He actually talked about kind of working with Magic Mike when I saw his little suspender and his dicky bow tie. I did say I was going to say it, and I wasn't sure, but I'm still going to go with it. So I'll pass the Magic Mike to jump the next little bit. Thank you.
My response was more Krusty the Clown than Magic Mike. Right, now, with my coaching hat always firmly on, as it has been since 18 years of age, you have all been sat down for an hour. So you're going to stand up, you're going to introduce yourselves to the people behind you for no more than a minute or two, because Coach Core is nothing without collaboration, convening and partnerships. So, say hello, stand up, rest, stretch your legs. 60-second countdown. Oh, 60-second countdown. If people want to change places as well, you're welcome to.
Test, test, 1 2 1 2, test.
Okay, take your places, please. Okay, there we go. See, give an inch. That was my my off-script piece. I've got far too much I need to say and remember today. So for those of you that know me, you'll know that I'm hating this. I've got to read stuff out. So I was determined to let people get up and actually talk and connect. So I'm glad you've had at least a brief opportunity to do it. So with my running hat now back on, always changing hats. We're into the home straight, you'll be pleased to know. So that said, we do have two very, very important key pieces to move through. One of which is the enormous pleasure and pride that I have of introducing this next section. So again, for those that don't know, and as I mentioned earlier, I've been on the journey, as many in this room have, from day one with Coach Core. And when we started looking at the 10-year celebrations, we knew that we wanted to celebrate and recognise those selfless, incredible individuals that have given us so much in so many different ways to support me and to support the charity over the years. The so-called shortlist was extensive, as you could imagine. And it's incredibly hard to bring down to just 10 that encapsulate what it is that Coach Core have achieved and what it is that Coach Core has as its ethos. Particularly when, since our standalone charity began just 3 years ago, we've had some amazing people put their hand up and offer to give time, energy and support to us. And I honestly, from my heart, and I know that from my team, we could not be more grateful for you. So, we're going to watch a very short video that introduces you to the 10 absolute rock stars that are the Coach Core 10 champions.
Hello there, Coach Core people. Stuart Armstrong here from Sport England.
It's Scott Han here from South Essex Gymnastics Club, and I am an ambassador for Coach Core.
My name is Ed Ray, and I've had the privilege of being involved with this wonderful charity for most of those past 10 years. First as chair of the advisory board when the charity began its life within the Royal Foundation, and latterly as the chair of the board of trustees since we became an independent charity 2.5 years ago.
I've been involved with Coach Core now for 7 years. I've been able to support the development of this through being a regional trainer, through being an area manager, and most recently through being a programme development lead.
So I'm involved in Coach Core because I firmly believe that we have a responsibility to show young people how they can develop a career in sports coaching. We've got a responsibility to the next generation to really say, here's your way in, here's your way through, and give them a truly memorable learning experience so they can go on and light fires on frontline sports coaching for years to come.
Now, how does Coach Core make me feel? It makes me feel humbled. It makes me feel incredibly proud to be part of such an incredible organisation.
I love meeting apprentices, I love seeing the progress that we're making and the impact that ultimately our apprentices are making.
The small little impacts that I can make just make me incredibly proud to be involved, and I love seeing everybody's journey.
I mean, I'm super passionate about Coach Core. You know, I feel like it's a real difference maker.
can think of a couple of times when I've been just so blown away by apprentices. I'm always blown away by apprentices.
These three young people individually just smashed it out of the park. They were confident, they were humble, they were funny.
He told me about basically the background he'd had and how he'd been involved with crime, and he'd been involved with some pretty difficult groups of people, and he'd had a fairly difficult kind of upbringing. And one of the things he talked about was how Coach Core had really changed his outlook and changed his perspective, and now all he wanted to do was to give back to his community and to create opportunities for others so that they didn't follow the same path he did. And I just thought such a powerful kind of example of how Coach Core makes such a difference to people's lives. It's not just about sport and physical activity, it's not just about coaching, it's about changing people's lives and allowing them to change others.
I just love seeing everybody achieve, grow and develop into fantastic, young, strong, healthy leaders that are able to give the head start to all of those kids, all of those people, all of those young adults that are involved in sport in such an incredibly inspiring way.
So, there is so much more for us to achieve. In sporting parlance, we are just at the end of the first quarter.
And what's next for Coach Core? Well, I think it's just getting bigger, reaching out, spreading out across the country.
Continue to grow, but grow in a way where we keep quality at the heart of what we do.
I think it's really simple. More impact, more apprentices, more employers, more locations, and continue to light a fire in young people.
What's the future for Coach Core? Well, I mean, who knows? World domination?
So, James, can I go back to that list? No way I can get back to that list.
No, now watching the whole video again.
Okay. I can't read that fast. I'm from Plymouth.
Sorry.
Thank you. Right. So, 10 incredible individuals. If you are in the room, would you please, one, make yourselves known by coming to the front and graciously accepting a very small token gesture from us for your support, your passion, your dedication, and your energy. I'm going to allow any of these wonderful people to come to the mic and say a few words if they wish. What I did want to flag was, albeit we saw him on the video, Gareth, who has been, as he mentioned, a learning coach, an area manager, and now is integral to the development of all our learning coaches and that key link. Gareth is in New York today, so sends his best wishes. We also have one of our wonderful trustees who has very much been on the journey with us from the early days, Heather Franken, beg your pardon, who is not with us today, and Sean Watson, who is the Glasgow learning coach that was part of that very first cohort that launched ahead of the Commonwealth Games in 2014 and works tirelessly to have changed countless lives up in Glasgow. So 3 members not with us today, but 7 incredible human beings that are, including Mitch. I can't believe you did, well, I can believe you did your speech in front of a beer tap. So that's fine. But I'll pass the mic to anyone that wants to jump onto it.
My comment is more about we for about 7 or 8 years have sponsored it. We started out by offering people to use our office for the training, and back to the earlier comment, we've got more out of it than just paying money. The company, the people are really involved in Coach Core, so the company wins, and hopefully Coach Core wins. Thank you.
look, I've been a coach all my life, and I never had anything like this when I started, and it was an incredibly difficult journey. So this is so important to me, and it has been an absolute pleasure and an honour to have been involved right from the start. And I can't thank Gary and the team enough for making me feel welcome, but also giving me an opportunity to give back to something that I feel so passionate about. So thank you, and thank you for this as well.
Just very quickly, I feel a bit of a fraud being here, to be honest, because I work for Sport England, and one of the main things we do is we distribute funding to worthy organisations who are doing great things in sport and physical activity, helping people become more active. And this is just the job. This is the day job. And I'm very fortunate to, Mitch mentioned it earlier on about being privileged. I'm seriously privileged to work with this partner. You do amazing things. The people that you work with and the things that they do and the way you support them, it's genuinely transformative. I'm actually running a little apprenticeship mentoring program myself for my father-in-law who owns a body shop, and we're trying to bring apprentices into the motor trade, and I really understand the challenges now. So all power to you, so thank you all.
If ever there was a case of standing on the shoulders of giants, I think this is it. And I'm actually going to call out Gary and his team. And I'm going to actually ask everyone who works at Coach Core if they can just stand up. Just wave, because a small team. Gary and the team do an amazing job. They're a tiny number of people, and they deliver an extraordinary amount. And as chair of the board, it's a pretty easy job, actually, just to sort of sit there, offer them a little bit of guidance, a little bit of advice, but I learn a huge amount from them. And I think they, for once, normally I want to thank all our employers and our apprentices and our coaches, etc. And I, as always, do want to do that. But this time I really want to single out this team because they're very special. Thanks.
Okay. Wonderful. Come on.
Ebbs, over to you.
Royal stitch up. No, I'm really humbled and very, very honoured to have received this today. I think I've been part of Coach Core, starting off as a sporting ambassador and latterly joining the board. And it's been wonderful just to see how the charity has grown, listen to the stories of the impact that it's created. And I think, like many of us have already stood up here, it's actually such a privilege to us to be a part of it rather than the other way around. So yeah, thank you for this, and thank you to Gary and the team, and I guess all the support that I also have in and around me with these individuals who stand here today. Thanks.
Thank you very much, everyone. So, just before we announce what is always the biggie, the Apprentice of the Year Awards, on the back of recognising those key individuals that have made significant difference to Coach Core, we'd love to invite an organisation that has been critical to the delivery of our education for so much of the last decade. From the amazing learning coaches that you've learned about today, who go above and beyond, nod to Ames, for their apprentices through to the senior management team that have always bought into the ethos and the very different approach that a programme like Coach Core demands. So it gives me enormous pleasure to welcome one of these SMT members to the stage, COO Carl Cornish. Not Carl. See, we've got to adapt, stay on our toes as coaches, but thank you, Steve, for jumping in.
It's not Carl, and I didn't know I was going to be up here, so this is really off the cuff. But to echo so many of the people that have been up here, it's a pleasure and honour, all of those lovely words, to work with Coach Core. I feel the Royal Stitch-Up was mentioned earlier. This is probably Carl doing the Royal Stitch-Up. He's unfortunately not here today and only told me this morning. So I'm caught on the hop a little bit. Gareth, who was one of the 10 stars there, has been a massive part of making this work, making the partnership work. He works tirelessly with the team here at Coach Core, as I'm sure Gary will testify to, picks up a lot of the heavy lifting for the team of people that we have, We've got some of our managers here today who are now taken over from Gareth in managing the wonderful team of coaches that we've got. 3 of them were nominated for Coach Awards, so you'll have seen those, but there is a group of them that you haven't seen who work just as hard and are just as successful. So we are really happy to be involved. We enjoy working with Coach Corps. I was talking to a colleague here saying that it's one of the very few things that we do that involves what I say is a 4th individual, where we work with learners, we work with employers, and obviously as a training provider that's the 3rd one. But this is the one program that we run where there is a 4th person at the table, and the value that Coach Corps bring to that is immense. We wish perhaps that some of our other programs had that 4th person at the table. They don't. So that's probably it from me, but thank you very much for allowing me the opportunity to come up and address the team, and apologies that I wasn't probably more prepared.
Well played, Steve. Well done. What I took from that was we're not Robin Reliance. We are Porsches and Ferraris with 4 wheels, so that's fine. Right. So a huge congratulations to our winners so far today. But I am now going to hand over, as I say, for the Apprentice of the Year award, and it gives me great pleasure to welcome Ebony back to the stage to do that on our behalf.
Hello again. It's really a great honour for me to introduce to you the Apprentice of the Year for 2022. The following nominees have been nominated by their employers, their learning coaches and their peers as 5 individuals who have taken the opportunity to better themselves and in turn created a huge impression on the people around them in every sense of the word. I know firsthand how important it is not only to take that chance but also to work hard once it's given to you. So I'm proud of everyone that has been recognised for this illustrious award. So without further ado, let's meet the 5 apprentice heroes.
I grew up playing rugby and actually played at quite a high level during my teens. I played for school, club, county, and even made it to professional academy level. However, I was dropped from the academy when I was 16 and found myself with a lot of time on my hands. Being dropped at that age is very disheartening without any other direction to go in, and I eventually turned to the streets as I didn't know what else to do with myself. One thing led to another, and I ended up getting more and more involved with crime. I knew things had to change for me after I started getting arrested and started getting into serious trouble. In 2020, I ended up going to prison for the supply of Class A drugs. When I was in prison, I had a lot of time to think about the choices that I've made and the choices that I want to make. And thanks to organisations like Coach Corps, Project Turnover and Active Surrey, I've been given the opportunity to make that change. After I come out of prison, I started working for Turnover as a volunteer, but quickly moved to an assistant coach, and I'm now a youth development lead. I love to give back to my community, and I want to help more young people stay on the right path.
I had the determination, I really tried to do it, but my body wouldn't let me. So at the age of 17, myself and my coaches decided that I would retire from the sport. And at that point I was, looking at my last year of school, and I thought, well, what do I want to do? I've lost my passion. And that's when I came to coaching. I was like, coaching is going to be my way forwards. If I can't really do my sport as well as I did in the past, I want to inspire others. I looked into different things and saw this apprenticeship and thought, wow, that is exactly what I want to do. I want to change people from that sedentary lifestyle to getting active. I do originally come from Kent, and so coming all that way, and I do miss my family now and again, but I'm like, look at the opportunities that are being given to me. I absolutely love it, and I just wouldn't change what I'm doing for the world.
So my story started when I left school. I joined Hattrick as a volunteer. because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was working at Krispy Kreme's, the donut shop, and that was my first kind of job. I was working alongside with Hattrick, so I was running both the jobs, but I was starting to get more invested in Hattrick. I was finding a bit more of a passion of working and engaging with kids, so I started giving up my retail job and stuff like that, giving up hours and shifts there to work with Hattrick voluntary. And luckily that dedication, decision making paid off, because then that's where I landed the apprenticeship opportunity, and I'm where I am now. My job entails of going out to schools and community, engaging children through sports. We try and promote positive messages, different stories as well. We do a lot in the community, half-term work as well, in the deprived areas where the children might be missing that key meal from school. So the children who are on school meals, we try and engage with them and engage with other children and provide them with the meal that they might be missing.
I chose this apprenticeship because I like sports. Just sitting down in a classroom, not interacting, just wasn't for me. So I needed to do something proactive, and I always had a passion for sports, so doing this was just perfect. First started, obviously I was more inexperienced, so I would be an assistant coach, but as time's gone past, I've been able to take my own sessions and be more of the head coach and have the lead role, and that's building up my experience myself, so I enjoy that. Yeah, I was a very shy person, nervous. Even now I'm quite nervous, but being in this apprenticeship has helped me to become less nervous and build up my confidence. Coaching was always something I wanted to do, so
I like working with the young people, making a difference in their lives, helping them when they're going through struggles. So what I normally do is I'll have some one-to-one mentoring sessions with some young people that may be having issues in lesson or outside of school. And then I'll also do some sporting activities with some of the young people. So that could involve football, boxing, table tennis, any sports really. And then I also do some chaperoning after school. So I work in a different school, and then I'll go there, walk around, make sure all the kids get home safe, and sometimes do a youth session there after school. I think it's very important, because what I do is I make sure that the young people have a safe place to come when it's the sessions. It helps the community a lot, because it allows them to not really worry about what the young people in their community are doing, because they know they're going to be safe when they're with MAD.
I think you'll agree with me, it's been wonderful to see these young apprentices flourish. What we're going to do now is invite them up onto the panel, and we're going to just have a quick discussion about their experiences, and hopefully they can share in terms of their experiences, their journey, and how Coach Core has helped them. So if Chansey, Hermione, Lewis, Ocean and Zane are here, please come up to the panel.
Test.
So congratulations all of you on being shortlisted for arguably the biggest and most coveted award of the day, the Apprentice of the Year. As one of the judges for this year's awards, I know how high the standards were. So much we've had to shortlist to the 5 of you. So I'd love to hear more about your Coach Core journeys, to hopefully share with the room, inspire those who might be entering the programme, but just to also describe the impact that this programme has had on your lives and what you hope to do as you move forward. So without further ado, who would like to start? I think just let us know in terms of what brought you to Coach Core. Do you want to start?
Yeah, I'll start.
Yeah, okay.
So I started volunteering with MAD Birmingham from around the age of 14. I was actually doing engineering in interviews with what apprenticeships you want to do, and obviously Coach Core was the big place that was taking all the apprenticeships in, and that's really how I started my apprenticeship, through Coach Core.
Okay.
I started off as you know, I worked at Krispy Kreme and stuff when I left school, so I didn't pass any of my GCSEs basically, so I didn't really know what to do with myself, so I grabbed the retail job, and while I was in the retail job, I was looking to do some voluntary work. Sports was always my key lesson in school. It was the only lesson that I found myself engaging in, wanted to go to, and found that I got the most out of myself. So I knew sports down that route was where I wanted to go. That's where I came across Hattrick. I started volunteering for Hattrick, not knowing about the Coach Co apprenticeship at this time. So throughout the summer, I would just give up my time, do stuff for Hattrick through half term, engaging kids in schools and outside. And then a few months down the line, it was exactly how I wanted to learn, just through not classroom based basically. It was really hands-on education. It was just really tied down to me. It tied into Hattrick as well, which is what I was enjoying, working with the young people, engaging through sports. So yeah, I just felt like that was for me, and I jumped on it, and best thing I've ever done. So thank you.
Perfect. Hermione, what brought you to Coach Co?
Well, I finished my A-levels and I just knew that I wanted to do an apprenticeship. So I was looking for an apprenticeship and I came across this one. I was a competitive gymnast myself, and so as I said, I sort of was forced to retire because of COVID, and all I wanted to do was then inspire people in my sport. And then I found this apprenticeship and I just thought it was the best way forward. I was living in Kent with my family, and this apprenticeship was down in Bristol. So then because of this, I moved to Bristol, got a flat and everything, and it was like a whole new chapter, a whole new life, just for the apprenticeship that I really wanted to do, and I'm really enjoying it, and genuinely I wouldn't change what I'm doing, so I'm really happy that I chose it.
Awesome. Ocean? Chansey?
Hi everyone. Yeah, as you gathered from the video, unfortunately I did go to prison, and when I was in prison I contacted my current boss, I used to play rugby with her son back in the day, so that's how we know each other. I contacted my current boss for character references to sort of help the decision in court. My boss basically said to me, when you come out of prison, there's a job opportunity for you. So I started off as a volunteer with Project Turnover. Then I moved up to a paid member of staff as a rugby coach, and now I'm youth development lead. Yeah, that's how I started off doing an apprenticeship with Coach Co. Yeah, it's an amazing opportunity.
I think what rings true out of all that is that we have some really passionate and dedicated individuals who are actually on the programme. But I think the next question, and we'll probably start on this side now, is what have you learned? What skill or what characteristic or quality has Coach Co given you that's either enhanced what you already had, or what have you learnt that's kind of will enhance your journey moving forward?
I would say patience for me, sort of coaching all sorts of different people. I teach preschoolers, I teach school age adults and people with disabilities, and it's just taught me so much patience going along their journey as well as my journey. I have one of my favourite classes of the week is on a Wednesday, which I'm missing today, but it's fine. And basically I helped this lovely girl with Down syndrome compete in her first ever competition, and so to see her achieve her goals makes you feel really good as a coach, and that's what gets me up in the morning, is to think that I'm helping people like her achieve her dreams by competing in her first trampolining competition.
Brilliant. Ocean? Dane? Oh, Lewis?
I'm not robbing Ocean's one, but confidence as well was for me. Before this apprenticeship, I wouldn't want to get up here and talk in front of you guys. I'd probably even want to try and miss some of the sessions because of how big the crowd was, how I was worried what I'd say would be wrong and I wouldn't be able to help some of the young people. But obviously David over there has helped me a lot to improve my confidence. Now I can come here, talk in front of you guys, not be worried, not be sweating. So I'm happy now.
For me, what I've learned probably is like adaptation and time management, believe it or not. So like being able to adapt in sessions in different environments, knowing my audience, knowing how to communicate with them, how to engage with them, and also like just like being on time, having the right time structure in sessions with the young people as well, making sure like maybe if you're working with maybe some children that have ADHD and stuff, maybe shorten that time down for them, give them a few more activities and stuff so they don't get too distracted and stuff like that. So yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you for sharing. I think I have one more question for all of you. So can you tell me what you love most about Coach Core and what are your hopes for the future?
What I love about Coach Core is, like I say, the practical learning side of it all the opportunities that you get given. So I've now passed my maths and English GCSEs. It's been a few years time. It's been a few years delay, but like thanks to my tutor Waz, thanks to Coach Core and stuff on the level 3. I wouldn't be able to go through it as easy. Thank you as well to Hattrick as well, like for pushing us through it all. Because, like I say, like going out my comfort zone and stuff like that, it's something that I don't like to do. But Coach Core kind of pushes you to do that by giving you different experiences, different qualifications, as well as the support as well. So yeah.
I think Coach Core's a big opportunity to do the thing that you love really, because I get to now teach sports thanks to the qualification I'm going to get through Coach Core. Also enjoy the people there like David, South, everybody here really. They're all polite, they're kind, and they're always there to help you if you ask.
Chauncey?
My favourite thing about Coach Core is probably like the opportunities that they provide. Like things like today, like none of us would have met each other if it wasn't for Coach Core. I wouldn't have met a whole load of people if it wasn't for Coach Core. Things like last time I've been nominated for an award was like when I was 16, so like being here is just amazing. Even at like the 10-year anniversary, like I met the Prince of Wales and Duchess. Do you know what I mean? That's just surreal to me. But yeah, it's just the opportunities and building rapport with people and like slowly watching the family grow and stuff like that.
My favourite thing about Coach Core is that we have exciting opportunities into the professional world, and the whole pattern goes down and Coach Core is there to help me figure out what I want to do and give me that experience and opportunity.
I don't want to steal everyone else's, but it would definitely be the opportunities that it's given me and us as apprentices. Obviously you get the qualification as part of Coach Core, but I'm also working towards another qualification, my level 2 in artistic gymnastics, and that's because of Coach Core funding it. So I've had so many opportunities and only been on the programme 6 months, and I've been, all these emails coming out to me about different opportunities and different articles and that, and it's just brilliant, and I'm amazed at how many opportunities there really are on this apprenticeship.
Thank you. Can we give them a round of applause? I think it's incredibly special to be able to hear and witness your journeys. The way you speak about them so proudly, so confidently and so fondly is really inspiring, and it just shows the work and the reason why the Coach Core programme and the impact that it has across nationally and hopefully globally at once in the near future, it has for these young people. So I'd like to introduce Aura Chacon, who was last year's Apprentice of the Year, who will be presenting this award.
afternoon, everyone. It's a great honor to be here again. As usual, nerves kicks in, so I understand where you are. So huge credit to all the amazing finalists. You have done amazingly well. This was an incredibly difficult category to judge. However, this individual was chosen as the winner for an outstanding commitment, passion, and drive to empower young people by investing in their individual needs and progress, for being incredibly resourceful and overcoming challenges, all while showing abundance of compassion and empathy throughout. We received a huge number of nominations for this individual, which highlights the impact they are having in the local community. This year, Coach Core Apprentice of the Year is Zain Khan.
I don't know where to start really, but honestly, it's amazing to get this award. It shows that all my hard work and dedication has been actually acknowledged by all of Coach Core, all the hard work Dave's put in to make sure all my work's in on time. Callum, it wouldn't all be possible without Callum. He's the main reason I started to get into sports. So I think Callum needs a big round of applause, please. Sport Birmingham have been amazing to me as well. They've always helped me. They gave me the biggest opportunity I've had now, and a special thank you to Nikki and Adam as well for turning up too.
One last time for all of our nominees, guys. All right, so thank you, everybody. I appreciate we're slightly overrunning today, so I'm really grateful for you staying with us, but hopefully it's made that all worthwhile. So a huge congratulations to all of our winners today. We are so unbelievably proud of you and of your efforts, particularly the young people in the room. We've kind of got a saying that to be shortlisted is special, but to be a nominee is incredible, and to be a winner is just unbelievable. So for those that have even been shortlisted for this today, I'd love one more round of applause, please, because they've been amazing. I think the thing for me, and I know Ed and others in the room will share this pride, whenever we have these panels and these questions, they are genuinely off script. And did you notice about coaching in that sense? They talk about what it's meant for them as a person and how they're helping inspire others. That, for me, is our purpose here at Coach Core. If we're producing high-level, top coaches, amazing. But actually, we're just taking, as per the title, people on a social mobility journey from here to here and developing them first and foremost, and then empowering them to go and develop even more people around them. So it's been incredible. I'd like to say some very quick thank yous to our supporters, BMS, CMS, and Collinsons as ever. A huge thank you to Coney and Barrow. For those that were nominated as our 10-year champions, we've got an extra special little gift for you, so please don't disappear before you get that. To Paddy and Scott, the coffee company, you may see under your chairs. You've got some nice brew bags under there, and Paddy and Scott have been very kind to hand those to us today. Again, to Lifetime for all of their support. And on that note, now that we finally, underline bold capital, finally reached January's pay packets, anyone that would wish to donate to Coach Core here in the room today, either see Claire or some of the QR codes at the back. We'd be really grateful for that to help us keep changing more lives. I'd like to give just a quick but massive thank you to my team. They genuinely worked tirelessly, as was pointed out earlier by Ed. We are very small. We will always be very small. The power comes from bringing the right people together. But with 200 odd employers, a number of different supporters, And as mentioned earlier, obviously 800 plus apprentices, that's a lot of work for a very small group of people. So personally, I'm going to lead this applause to my team. And also to our trustee board as well, who give up so much time, energy and efforts that really do make the complete dream team that is Coach Core. Thank you, like Mitch and Tomo said earlier, to the employers who believe in what we do and critically believe in the power of what young, diverse talent can do. It's important that you know that Coach Core simply just doesn't happen without you, and nor does it without those incredible supporters. So thank you to you all. And lastly, to the apprentices of 2023. We hope that next year we're going to be here celebrating your achievements and also that impact that you have had as well. So my message always to them is to work hard, take every opportunity, and be inspired by the peers that have gone before you. Scott mentioned it earlier, Paul, myself, we have always used this line of, we would have killed for this when we were younger. This would have been what we were, the Coach Core kids. And I think for those that are grabbing that opportunity with both hands, they realise and see very quickly what it can do for them and what it can do for the people around them. As you know, this is our 10-year celebration, part of it. We're looking to change even more lives than ever before over the next decade. And kick-starting this, and these awards today, will be a major, major start for us to change, as I say, even more lives, and a very important phase for the charity. So, appreciate some of you may need to dash off, but for those that don't, we would love for you to stay around to meet some of the absolute superstars that are sat in the room today. But thank you again to you all for joining us, and we hope for a really big year for Coach Core this year.